How can you find the troublesome areas of your voice when mastering your audiobooks? Or how do you know what to look and listen for when making enhancements? For new narrators, it can be tricky, and I get asked a lot from narrator friends of mine, how do I know what to listen for in my narration? Before getting into audiobooks, we as people absolutely hate the way our voice sounds when it's recorded. But then we get into audiobooks and we're like, well, I'm going to be listening to my voice a lot, right? There is a tool out there that can help you get started and help you pinpoint those frequencies that you may not know your vocal quality has. Welcome back to the Home Audio Project, the place to help narrators and voiceover artists edit and master their audio and break into the business. I'm audiobook engineer Ryan May. I want to help you find those very nice and pleasant areas of your voice, but also find those areas that aren't so nice. Those frequencies that are just straight up bothersome to you and maybe your listeners. Maybe you don't even know what those areas are. And that's cool because there is a tool that can help you. Before we jump into that though, there is another tool that can help you with EQ in your voice. And I know that when you're new, you're like, awesome, I have to record myself, edit myself, now I need to master myself. And in the same lane as the tool that we're going to talk about today, I want to give you my narration EQ guide. This is completely free, just a gift I want to give to you for hanging out with me today. And it's going to help guide you into those frequency areas that I tend to listen for when I'm EQing really any vocal track. And I know it can help you along with what we're talking about today. So you can pick it up at thehomeaudioproject.com/EQ. Again, it's a completely free resource that can help you in this audiobook journey. Okay, what's the tool that we're going to talk about today? A frequency analyzer. We're going to jump into another session and I'm going to show you how a frequency analyzer can give you that little extra assistance. First, let's talk about what a frequency analyzer, also known as a spectrum analyzer, is. A frequency analyzer is a measurement tool, basically, that just displays real-time incoming audio signals. And the frequency spectrum represents the range of audible frequencies within human hearing. So, in between 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz, and all the different areas of frequencies that we as audio engineers and narrators and producers use on a daily basis, right? So they're broken up into the sub-frequencies, the bass frequencies, the low mids, the mid-range, the upper mid-range, presence, and the brilliance or air range, if you were to use a shelf of some sort, whether that be a high shelf or a low shelf. And the analyzer helps you identify the problematic areas, like resonance buildup, or if you have a certain frequency range that might be lacking in your voice that maybe you were unsure of. This is an example where you could use a frequency analyzer to help identify your problematic areas, or to bring up enhancements if you didn't know maybe you needed them. When you're completely new to recording your voice professionally, and you've never had to EQ your voice, using a frequency analyzer, or what I have here is an EQ plugin that has a frequency analyzer built in, this will help you identify what you're probably not picking up with your ear. Everyone's different and everyone has a different type of hearing. So using a frequency analyzer, if you have a hard time hearing specific frequencies, could be beneficial for you. And it could be really beneficial, especially when you don't really know where to start. And this is really for beginners. As you start narrating more and start EQing your voice more, you're going to start to learn your room, your gear, your mic, and your vocal tonal quality. But as a starting point, getting something a little visual can always help. I do want to preface, though, that you don't want to rely on a frequency analyzer and just using your eyes, because boosting certain frequencies could be a detriment to your vocal recording for your audiobook. And cutting certain frequencies could also harm your vocal quality as well. So you always want to use your ear first. Right now, I'm in Logic, and the channel EQ has a built-in frequency analyzer. But there are a handful of free frequency analyzers out there that you can download for both Mac and PC. So I'll have a link down in the description. You can check those out and feel free to download one as you so choose. So let's take a listen to this narration and see what kind of results we get from the frequency analyzer and how it can help us identify some problematic areas or some areas that we may want to enhance.
All she had was the chaplain's card, a couple of condoms, and $400 bills in that little purse across her shoulder. The prison was situated.
So his vocal quality lies between the low mids and the mid-range, which is pretty typical. But he has a good dip around the 2K to 5K range. By seeing this on the frequency analyzer, I could probably guess that bringing up a little bit more clarity in his voice around that 2K to 5K range may help him get a little bit more clarity. So let's just do a wide band. We'll bring it up not too much. We'll try about 4 dB. And I think we'll just widen out the Q just a little bit and see what that does for us.
All she had was the chaplain's card, a couple of condoms, and $400 bills in that little.
And with that band off,
all she had was the chaplain's card, a couple of condoms.
Toggle it back on now.
All she had was the chaplain's card, a couple of condoms, and $400 bills in that little purse.
Yeah, not too much, but there's a little bit more clarity and presence. Now let's go to something that would be a little bit more problematic. If we look at the sub-lows, usually in audiobooks, it's a safe bet to roll off around 60 to 70 hertz because any of that really low sub-bass isn't really needed. All it does is kind of clog up the sonic elements of a frequency and can cause too much resonant buildup and what we call the proximity effect. So if we take our high pass and roll it up to around 70, 80 hertz, let's see what we get there and see if we can clean it up. Now he already has a natural roll off to his voice. He doesn't really go above 100 hertz, but as you can see, he still has some frequency buildup in those lower sub ranges. By seeing this and using our ears, we can clean it up to almost perfect.
All she had was the chaplain's card, a couple of condoms, and $400 bills in that little purse across her shoulder. The prison was situated on hundreds of acres of clear open land.
Great. Now, when he just said land, I heard just a little bit of nasal going through there. And that's in that lower mid-range. And that's one of the frequencies that I just really don't like. And everyone's different. So if it can bring some rounded fullness to your voice, you can definitely add it. There's really no rules in EQ, although you do want to just make sure your audiobook sounds as natural as possible. Act like you're having that conversation with somebody, right? So let's go to that nasal range, which is between 250 and 500, 600 hertz. I'm just going to bring it up a little bit, and we're just going to kind of listen for that nasal range, but we'll use the frequency analyzer to help us identify that problematic area.
All she had was the chaplain's card, a couple of condoms, and 400.
So he's got more bumps between that 450 and 500 range. So let's bring that part up.
All she had was the chaplain's card, a couple of condoms, and $400 bills in that little purse across.
See how he kind of sounds like his nose gets plugged? It's a little nasally. So by just bringing that down a little bit, and you can even see the bump as I brought the volume up. So we'll bring it down. And again, not too much. Maybe we'll widen out the Q just a little bit.
All she had was the chaplain's card, a couple of condoms, and $400 bills.
And now with that band off.
All she had was the chaplain's card.
Let's go to that part where he said land again.
On hundreds of acres of clear open land. On hundreds of acres of clear open land.
Okay, now if we put that band back on, let's just see how it cleans up some of that low mid frequency.
On hundreds of acres of clear open land.
Yeah, I feel like that really cleaned it up for me. If I just drop it down a little bit, maybe widen out that Q.
On hundreds of acres of clear open land.
All right, too much, right? So this is where some experimentation can always come into play. It's not a bad thing.
Hundreds of acres of clear open land.
Great. So as you can see, a frequency analyzer can help you make better EQ decisions. But again, you want to trust your ears first and only use a frequency analyzer as a tool when needed. Because with experience, your ears will start to pinpoint those frequencies that you need to adjust in your voice. And ultimately, you'll have some type of narration audiobook template in place as you start doing more audiobooks anyway. And your tools will be set up and ready to go. But whenever you need just a little bit of help, this is where a frequency analyzer can come into play. There you have it. A frequency analyzer plugin can help aid your decisions when EQing your narration inside of your audiobooks. And one thing to note as well is that when you're recording pickups for corrections, you can use this tool to help in EQ matching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you already use a frequency analyzer? If so, which one do you use? If not, do you think that this could help you? And again, if you're looking for another resource to use when EQing your voice, download my narration EQ guide at thehomeaudioproject.com/EQ. I'm here to help you succeed, and I love this audiobook community, and I only want to help you narrate more so you can process less. All right, have an awesome day, and I'll see you in another video real soon.